Hello and welcome to this special year-end episode of the Film Pulse podcast. I'm your host, Adam Patterson. Joining me today, we got Kevin Rakestraw. How are you, Kevin?
Doing okay.
How was your New Year's?
It was like any other day.
I got sick, so...
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I was sick, and then I was better for about 3 days, and then I got another cold. So, you know, what the hell? Come on.
Stop
I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I think what's happening is I gave it to my wife, and then she gave it back to me.
Oh, the old relay.
Yeah,
Just hand
and
it off.
I'm just wondering if it's gonna be
It's gonna
never
go on.
ending.
Yeah,
If it's just gonna keep going back and forth for eternity.
it could happen. It's
That's
possible.
it's a concern of mine at this point. It's a legitimate concern. Since all of our top movies have already been published on filmpulse.net and on Letterboxd, this week we're going to do something a little bit different, and we're going to do things award show style. And we're going to highlight our top films in some carefully picked categories.
Watch out.
So be sure to let us know what your picks are for each of these categories by sending us an email, podcast@filmpulse.net, or sending us a tweet @filmpulsenet. And if you maybe want to support what we do on this show, you can become a patron for just $1 a month at patreon.com/filmpulse. And you can avoid hearing us talk about things like Squarespace and Loot Crate, like all the other
Loot
podcasts. You're not familiar with Loot Crate?
Loot Crate.
Yeah, it's like it's a subscription service where they send you a box of shit every
Oh,
month.
that thing where it's just like a grab bag. It's like a potpourri of nonsense.
Yeah, it's like they send you like a pop figure and a T-shirt every month, and it's all kind of
What?
crappy nerd stuff.
Wow.
There is a horror. There's a horror version though, and I kind of want to do it, where it's all horror themed stuff. So anyway, let's go ahead. Let's dive right in. We got a lot of stuff to cover, so I just want to go kind of head first in. I figure we'll just announce each of these categories as we do them, and I figured we'd just start from the top of the Google Docs list that we have up here with top horror. Now, I already posted my top 10 horror movies.
That's right. You already got that up on there.
So we'll start with you on this one. What is your
Okay.
top horror film of the year?
Top
We're not
horror,
saying
if I'm just-
we're not saying
okay.
we're not saying best. Sorry. We're not saying best. Okay? We're saying top as in this is our top. All right. I think
okay.
that's saying best is just so, we didn't see every single movie, so it's hard to say that this is the
Well, yeah,
best.
and when you were talking me on horror, like I maybe saw like 6 this year.
You see
I saw it.
you always say that, but you watch far more horror movies than probably most people. I'd say you're pretty well versed in horror at this point.
I guess. So I got.
What's your top?
So I guess like if I'm going pure horror, I would say They Look Like People.
Solid choice.
That would be my like pure horror with like behind that The Invitation.
Mm-hmm. Now I put that as kind of an honorable mention on my horror list because I wasn't quite sure if I considered it to be a horror film or not. So I felt like I should mention it because I was a big fan of that one, but I don't know if I would call it a horror film. It's kind of in that gray area.
Yeah, because I would also mention The Love Witch, but to me, I don't know if that's like a pure horror film.
I struggled with that one too. Ultimately, it did end up on my list, but yeah, I don't. Just looking at the what made me sway towards that being horror was looking at the movies that influenced The Love Witch, and I think that all of those movies would be considered horror. So ultimately, I did classify it as a horror movie.
Then it is like if you start to like open up the definition, like I might go Project X.
That's pretty loose,
Yeah,
but yeah.
you see, you know what I mean? Like once you start to like
We're
venture
getting a
out,
little loosey goosey with that
yeah,
one.
it's so easy to get loosey goosey with that definition.
Sure, yeah. I struggled with Green Room, which is one of my top
Yeah,
horror
yeah.
movies. Like Green Room, it's like I guess that's a horror movie, but it didn't necessarily scare me. I thought it was more of a thriller. But my top horror movie would be Don't Breathe. That's pure horror, and it's excellent. Fede Alvarez killing it. I like how he goes from the Evil Dead remake, which is this boisterous, over the top, chaotic gore fest, and then he goes to Don't Breathe, which is this really subdued, very sound focused movie where silence is everything in this movie, and even the slightest noises, put these kids in peril. And I liked that he went from one kind of spectrum to the other, and he did it in such an effective way. And Don't Breathe was fantastic, but yours is a good pick too. I liked They Look Like People a lot. I saw it last year, so I considered it a 2015.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't quite
Yeah,
sure. I saw people saying 2016, so I was like, sure, why not?
yeah. I don't know. That one
Because,
was weird.
and to me, movies like that aren't, you know, they're not talked about that much, or they're not appearing on that many lists. I'm a little more lenient with those because I'm like,
Oh yeah, definitely,
they need it
definitely.
more than they need it more than Manchester by the Sea.
Certainly. So be sure to check. All of these movies are hearty recommendations. So be sure to be, writing these down. Don't Breathe was a pretty major release, so I'm sure
Yeah.
that most of you already saw that one. But
And They Look Like People. That's Netflix instant. You can watch that on there.
yeah, so definitely check that one out for sure. Let's move on. Talk about top documentary, top doc.
Get them docs.
I have a number on it. I have actually 10. I did sort of a top 10 here, so I don't know if that's
Pretty good year for
it,
docs.
I don't know if that's allowed or not.
That's not
But
allowed, but
okay, well,
do it.
so my number one, I would say, is OJ Made in America. That actually made it into my top 20 films of the year, and it was just amazing. I mean, it was just so well put together. It was so thorough,
How long?
and
That's like 3 months long, right? That's one that's like three.
yeah, it's a long one. That's what everybody talks about. But it's not overly long. Yes, it's long, but
It's
just
just,
break it up.
it's
If you're
just,
gonna bitch and moan about the length, just break it up and watch it in segments. Quit being a bitch and just watch it.
jeez,
That's what I have to say about that. Just
goodness, boy.
it's yeah, it's
I love that. That's your top doc, which is like super, super, super long in my eyes. And then my top doc is Project X, which is
super
exactly
short,
yeah.
10 minutes.
I go with the short. I like to get in and get out. Get my information to get out of there.
That's a fantastic documentary, and I would put that on my list, but I have a rule against putting short films on any kind of like, unless it's specifically about like short
Mm,
films, like short form
mm,
uh films. I don't keep it on the list. I only keep features on there. So
mm.
that's why that didn't make it. Some other ones that I'll mention: Tower, the
Okay.
documentary about the the sniper shooting in Texas. Fantastic. I love the rotoscoped animation with that. With rotoscoped animation, I would say that it's really hit or miss for me. Sometimes I think that people do it frivolously and there's just no point to
Yeah.
it. In this, it really aided in the story because so much of this was done in reenactments. It was really interesting how they did it. So that was uh, definitely a solid one. De Palma, the Brian De Palma documentary by Noah Baumbach and Jake Paltrow. This is probably one of the best one of these kind of filmmaker biography documentaries that I've ever seen. It was just so well put together and just so fascinating. Brian De Palma is a really interesting person, and they delivered this information in a really entertaining way. Although, honestly, it'd be kind of hard not to. You just throw in an interview with Brian De Palma along with clips from his movies, and the movie, kind of makes itself. So I guess that was an easy one. Kate Plays Christine, definitely one of the most interesting documentaries of the year for me. You saw this one now, right?
Yeah. I was disappointed with this one. I just
I wasn't
I have so many
so
issues with this. It's just,
I, I wasn't so sure about the end,
I
and
mean, I liked it in the very beginning. I found it really interesting because it's essentially just like this doc of like her trying to get into this character, which I thought really worked well on that level. But then once he started getting into everything else, kind of like in the second, almost the second half of that film, like the tail end of it, and especially that ending, give me a fucking break.
yeah, the ending was the ending certainly did not do it for me, but I liked what they were kind of getting at with that, where this woman, this anchor kills herself on live TV, and she's trying to make a statement about how news is just turning into blood and guts, but then you look at a documentary like this or making a fictionalized version of this, and it's like, is that playing into what she's kind of railing against? And there's this whole kind of dichotomy of, what do we do, how do we do this in a documentary, is this even worth making, and all this stuff. And I thought that
Yeah,
that
which
was just a really interesting approach, because when you compare it to Christine, the other one that came out, it's like, to me it was like night and day. Like, this is how this story should have been
well,
told.
it could have been told in a completely different way. I just, with Robert Greene's approach to it, it just seemed like he's like, I'm not sure how to do this, so I'm going to make a film about how I'm not sure how to do this. And it's just at a certain point, I'm like, can you just figure it out whether you want to make a film or not? And if you do, great, let's make that film. I'll watch it. If not, cool, work on something else. Like, I don't.
I agree. It's
Like, I
it is
don't, like, I'm just sitting here watching you argue with yourself whether you should do this. I don't, figure it out. All right,
I
figure it
agree.
out. Get back to me. I'll watch a fucking movie. If not,
It,
okay, let's move on to something else.
it is very scattershot, but I still
And
I still
then,
enjoyed it.
well, then the whole point of like him trying to like wedge in the whole like putting Caitlin Shield through the same, like all these surface level, like the discussions that he was having with, why she committed suicide. It's just, I don't know.
Was there a connection between this and Christine, the other one? Because like the script seemed the exact same. It seemed like they were working off the same script. Because
Well,
you saw Christine too, right?
yeah, which made me did wonder because like when Caitlin Shield got the footage at the end, and they were like, "Oh, no one's else has seen this." There was a part of me that was thinking like, was that shared with Antonio Campos?
Yeah, because it's the same. Like the words, like it was like word for word almost the exact same. So I'm wondering if, I don't know if they were working off the same script, or he got that footage too, or yeah, I was really wondering about that.
I don't know. We were way off. We just traveled down the side road.
That's fine.
We're in the thicket.
That's fine.
Got to get back to the trail.
Back to documentaries. I'm Not Your Negro. Fantastic. I don't see, this is another gray area. This didn't come out yet, to my knowledge, but they did send out award screeners for it, so I'm including it in the 2016 movies. But this is just a really, really interesting watch, and whenever it does come out, I highly recommend it. 13th, the Ava DuVernay.
That's definitely on mine as well.
Yeah, even though there were some issues I had with it, I still think that it is a must-see
I
for
mean,
this
I
year.
think it's one of those things that it shows because it's basic. I mean, it's just a bunch of talking heads
Yeah,
disseminating information, but the way in which it's organized, I think, goes to show you of how well you can even create one of those movies. Where it's just a basic documentary, but you can still make it compelling.
yeah, absolutely. Nuts, which is the one about the guy who believed that by implanting goat testicles into men, it could cure impotence. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating. It's so much more than that. It's just really, really interesting, and in it's got really cool animation in it, and definitely one of my favorite documentaries of the year. Tickled, which is the one about competitive tickling. That's another one where you're just like, it's a stranger than fiction type documentary, and I love those. I love those that they start off as one thing, turn it into something else, and it just gets completely outrageous and out of control. And then Amanda Knox, which was the Netflix one about Amanda Knox.
Gotcha.
All documentaries that I would definitely recommend seeing this year. A lot of these are on Netflix, so
Yeah.
check them out.
I got two more that are on Netflix because I have 13th as well, which is also on
Mm-hmm.
Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Project X, which is I already talked about a little bit, which you can see that on fieldofvision.org. And then the other two that are on Netflix, one is, well, they're both Herzogs, and that's the Into the Inferno, the one about the volcanoes,
Mm-hmm.
but not. It seems to be about a lot more than just volcanoes.
It is.
And then another one that I didn't get to see in time for my top 50. All right, I saw this afterwards, and that's the Lo and Behold, his one about the internet.
No, so you were really into this one, huh?
Holy shit, this is great.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's
I
fantastic.
held off on. It's funny. I held off on watching it because I heard mixed things about it. I heard it was just average.
It is number one. His use of music, as always, just fantastic. And in this one, it's no different. I mean, I don't think there's a documentary filmmaker that uses music better. And the editing on this one is just on point. There's a couple of things. There's one where he's interviewing someone, and they're kind of talking. This woman's talking about, like the dream of the internet or whatever, and everything that else goes along with it. And she kind of shoots down the idea, and then immediately cuts to just Elon Musk, just kind of like sitting there contemplating a question, and he just looks so sad because it's essentially her answer is just completely shutting down everything that Elon Musk is working towards. So it's just this smash cut to him, just as sad as can be. And
Poor Elon.
And of course, it's Herzog being. He goes off on so many different tangents with the internet, and you learn so much. And just some of the questions that he asks and stuff, I almost wish that this was more of like a series, give him more time to just go off on all these tangents that he travels down.
Oh, maybe that security company that funded this will turn it into something else. Who knows? Who knows? Let's talk about. Do you have any other docs?
No,
those are the last two you had.
Yeah, those are my docs.
All right, next up we have top comedy.
Watch out.
Mine are not very interesting
Uh-oh.
because these are ones that were both on my top 20, and that's Everybody Wants Some, the Richard Linklater one, the pseudo sequel to Dazed and Confused, which I rewatched this week before doing this podcast. I just wanted to make sure, before I locked in my top 20 and before we did this podcast, I just wanted to make sure that I still felt the same way about this, and I definitely do. It's everything that I wanted in something like this. I never thought that he'd be able to pull it off, and I never thought that I would like it even remotely close to Dazed and Confused, and I still like that one far more, and I think that there's some nostalgia tied to that, but this one just, it really did it for me, and I had just a blast with this one. And, well, what's your top one?
My top is 0.5 millimeter.
Okay.
From Momoko Endo.
And I missed that one because it's just, it's a long one. And
it is a long one. It is a long one, but it
didn't quite fit it in.
Definitely worth it. Hopefully it comes back around at some point.
Also mention Hunt for the Wilder People.
Yeah, because that's on mine as well.
That's one of my other top comedies. Looking at through the list, it's interesting because I thought that comedy-wise, really weak year.
Yeah, it's not
really weak.
And like even the ones that I have on my top comedy lists, I mean, they're not like pure comedies.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, are they comedies?
Like Hunt for the Wilder People is really maybe the main one, the purest comedy. The Edge of 17 I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked Edge of 17, but I just
like is that
I don't know. It didn't make me like lose my shit or anything. There wasn't any kind of like hilarious laughter coming from me. And Edge of 17 is almost like a dramatic comedy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it has comedic elements to it. I thought that the Edge of 17 was at least like consistently funny throughout. And
sure.
a nice consistency with its comedy in there.
I think for movies like that, we'll just give them shout outs.
Yeah,
how's that?
Men Go to Battle. Like I found that funny, but like is that really a comedy?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd consider that a comedy. It's just because it's so dry, and the comedy comes. It's so sparse.
Yeah.
I will give a shout out to Neighbors 2.
Yeah.
I thought that that's a pure comedy that I thought was really funny, and also Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping.
Never stop, never stopping.
I enjoyed that. I both of those movies I thought were good, and I actually liked Neighbors 2 more than the original. So
See, and then another one that would be Donald Cried.
yeah, and that's another one that
Like
it's funny. It made me laugh, but I just don't know if I would call it a
and
pure comedy.
one of the main. No, I think this is kind of like a pure comedy. This is a film that I keep coming back to, but I think more so throughout the year. I've thought about a lot is New Cops
Yeah, New Cops.
because it's just there's so many stupid moments in that film. It's just stat biking, the chopping the tomatoes, him playing that fucking video game, the actual
Stat
show,
biking.
the actual show New Cops, his scam that he's running with the coupons.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a, and I mean that was only like 50 minutes long, but there's so much absurdity in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like more of that, definitely. All right, moving on, we have biggest disappointment of 2016. What is one of your biggest disappointments of this year?
I think my biggest would be Hail Caesar.
That was, yeah, look, I don't have that on mine, but now that you mentioned it, I knew this was going to happen where you would mention things, and I'm like, oh, yeah, because Hell Caesar was a big disappointment for me.
Because I mean, anytime like a Coen Brothers movie comes out, you're just like, oh, thank goodness, this is
Yeah,
gonna
because
be a good year. And then
you're just expecting to love it.
yeah, and then when it doesn't deliver, you're just like, what? Wait, I gotta wait another couple years now.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely a big disappointment. I have three on my list. Suicide Squad
okay.
is definitely one. I went into it unsure. Like I didn't know what to expect with this, but the trailers were good. The marketing material was great, and I was really hopeful for this one, and boy did it disappoint. It was a piece of shit. Holy crap. Yee. The second one is Nerdland. This is one that I don't even think anybody saw. I don't know if anybody saw this one. It's the animated one I mentioned a few weeks back with Paul Rudd and Patton Oswalt. Just a disaster in every respect. I don't understand what happened with this one, and it's it's the animation team behind Venture Brothers and Metalocalypse. These are great shows on Adult Swim that I love. And they made this movie that's just such a garbage pile. I don't understand what happened with it. Apparently, I read that it was supposed to be a live action film, but they couldn't get financing, so they decided to make it animated, and it's just yuck. And the other one I'll mention is the Blackout Experiments. That's the documentary about the extreme like horror experiences or whatever that they have here in New York and in LA. And I was really expecting something cool out of this, but it is just so lame and dumb and boring. So those are definitely three disappointments for me.
Okay, well, I guess I'll do my three. Hail Caesar, which I already said. The one I already kind of talked about a little bit, which is Kate Plays Christine. I think that was one of my most anticipated of the year, and they kind of fell short. And then the other one would be, and this one still made my top 50, but it's not what I was thinking it was gonna be, and that's Arrival.
Oh yeah,
Which, I mean, it was still a decent movie, but there's just so much shit in there. I just thought that, I was really expecting this like cerebral sci-fi, which there is some of that in there, but it's minuscule, and there's just all this other fluff, all the military and the,
yep.
How many times did they had to show someone watching the news or the news?
Well, they had all those monitors. Of course they're gonna watch it. They got them all up there, ready to go. Anyway,
all that business. Get all that garbage out of there.
I didn't love that as much as a lot of other people did. I've noticed that on a lot of year-end lists.
I think it's one of those things because it almost makes it a little bit worse because there's moments in there that are there's moments of greatness.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that are involved, you have Bradford Young doing the cinematography, Johan Johansson with the score, just you know, the synopsis itself, the plot line. It's just it should have been better.
Yeah. All right. So from biggest disappointments, we go to favorite underrated or overlooked title of the year. So what do you have for these?
I would say Ocean Falls, which is a short that played on Tenet Media from Ryan Ermacora and Jessica Johnson. I thought that was fantastic. For the Plasma, which I don't think was really seen by too many people. That's available on Fandor. The Phenom, which I'm kind of surprised that one didn't get talked about more, which is on Netflix Instant. Men Go to Battle. I mean, that got some press, but it seemed to kind
Not a
of
whole lot.
yeah, it seemed to kind of peter out. And then They Look Like People Again.
Okay. I would agree with all of those, even though some of those I haven't seen, so I guess I can't speak to those.
Well, to me, like the Phenom, that's one that one's kind of surprises me.
Yeah, that one had some big people in it, and
Yeah, Ethan
yeah,
Hawke, Paul Giamatti. I mean, come on now.
yeah, that one just kind of came and went. You have to wonder about distributors and did they drop the ball? Was there not enough more like in the marketing budget for this?
It had to be a part of it. That had to play into it some because I didn't even know about the Phenom. I found out about it on Twitter. People talking about it.
I feel like I read about it very briefly. Like it might have even been just when we were covering things that were coming out, you
Yeah,
know. So my underrated, or at least things that I feel are underrated, Justin Tipping's Kicks. This is one that just kind of, I feel like it really flew under the radar. Nobody really talked about it. Maybe I was the only one that liked it. I don't know, but I feel like nobody saw this one. And it was just a really kind of underscored release. Like it just got a VOD release and maybe I think it got a limited release too, maybe here in New York. But I really loved it. And I think it's a shame that not as many people saw it. And the other one was Operation Avalanche, Matt
yeah.
Johnson's. This one came out in limited release, didn't get a VOD release or anything like that. And I think maybe that's what did it for this is that it just it only got a limited release in theaters, no VOD. Now, by the time you hear this, it actually will be on VOD. It comes out Tuesday.
Okay. Because I was going to
So
say, even pretty much everything that I've heard about this movie, I've heard pretty much nothing but good things.
yeah, I loved it, and I I think that I think a lot of people would like it if they saw it. But I mean, maybe now that it's going to be on iTunes and other VOD platforms, it's very possible that it's going to get more traction. I know that that's what happened with The Dirties too. Like that movie just kind of flew under the radar, and then once it hit on-demand platforms and all of that, it started to pick up steam. So those would probably be my two biggest underrated titles of the year.
I'm looking forward to Operation Avalanche.
Well, comes out
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Very exciting. I just found that
Nice.
out today. So, all right, let's talk about most exciting new talent director.
All right.
What do you have for
Okay, so
this?
I broke this up in four ways. Okay.
Oh, geez.
So I got foreign, male, female. All right.
Okay.
So foreign female would be Randa Marufi, who heard short The Park was my number one movie of the year. So obviously pretty excited to see what she does in the future. And then Gambai, who did Kalali Blues, which was, that's quite something for a first film. So I'd say that,
Interestingly, I also have
yeah,
Genbai for Kailai Blues.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. I saw that you enjoyed that one. I
Of
mean,
course, yeah. I mean, holy crap. Yeah, we didn't talk about it because it's been a week since we recorded last, and yeah, I was able to squeeze it in before the end of the year, and yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot.
yeah, that's quite something. And then U.S. would be Anna Rose Homer for the Fits, and then Bingham Bryant and Kyle Molzan for the Plasma. So that would be the four, well, five actually, five directors.
Okay. In addition to Gone By, I have Anna Rose Homer for Fitz, and then I also have Brady Corbett for Childhood of a Leader.
Oh, which I was, it's really bummed out because I forgot all about that movie.
I know, I should actually, let me retroactively put that on my underrated because I feel like that one just
Because
flew under the radar too.
I forget. I don't know if it was. It might have been your list. Because was that on your top 20?
It was, yeah.
Okay, I think it was your list when I was reading through your list, and I was like, God damn it, I forgot to watch that one because I was trying to cram in like all these 2016 titles.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're bound to miss some. I didn't see La La Land, so.
Screw that.
Although I'm like 99% sure that La La Land wouldn't have been on my top 20.
I'm like 100.
Sure. You're 115% sure. There's no way.
No.
Yeah, so definitely check out all of those directorial debuts because I think that all of them were pretty outstanding. Like, when you see these movies, any of these, you're just like, holy crap, this is a first-time director. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So definitely check all of those out. All right, what do we have next? Most exciting new talent actor. There's a lot that could be on this list.
There are.
There were a ton of really, really strong debut performances this year. When I was going through my list, I was like, holy crap, I could really just go to town on this. And you, every year, highlight some of these performances. Now, they're not necessarily debuts, but I'm sure
there's a couple in there.
Yeah, you had a couple in there that were. So going over mine, I have Sasha Lane for American Honey.
Yeah.
I have Royalty Hightower for The Fits, and I have Marquise Christmas for God damn it, Morris from America.
Oh, I forgot about him. That's a good pick. I also have Royalty Hightower, which also, what a name.
I know.
And
it's almost as good as Marquise Christmas.
Oh man, I can't wait until those two take over. And you just see those two names at the top of movie posters.
Well, if they marry, if she marries him, she'll be Royalty Christmas.
That would be
that is a strong name right there.
And almost, I hope I would, if that were to happen, no, that's just weird. They're too young. Let's just stop it there.
Yeah.
Okay. You got me all flustered now. Where am I?
You did Royalty Hightower.
Royalty Hightower, and then I have Timothy Morton and David Maloney, who are Men Go to Battle, and then also in New Cops.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that for sure, especially Timothy Morton.
I'm looking forward to more of their projects.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's see. Guilty pleasure. So these are movies that maybe haven't been the best received or aren't maybe universally liked or just didn't do well that we like. What do you have on your guilty pleasure here?
I sort of took it as guilty pleasure because I don't feel guilty at all for liking them.
But I mean, isn't
but to me, I'm thinking more along the lines of like it's not a good movie.
Right.
And like I'm not going to give it a high mark, but I enjoyed it nonetheless, which I've said it numerous times, New Cops, because it's not a good movie by any stretch, but God damn it, do I enjoy it. And The Shallows, which has a lot of terribleness in it.
Yeah, it's got a lot of problems, but damn is it fun.
Yeah, exactly. Like it just happened, The Shallows, I was in a very specific mood at the time, and I wanted a very specific thing, and it delivered. I think The Shallows is going to hit the mark that I'm looking for. It's going to hit that spot, and it did, even though it has a ton of issues.
Yeah, I had fun with that one too. It wasn't enough to really hit my horror top 10 or anything like that, but I had a good time with that one. It was kind of a surprise.
It's so the CGI. It felt like there was two teams handling the CGI. One is very competent, and then the other group was just woefully inept.
Yeah.
And it just kept changing back and forth. You would see the shark and be like, "Damn, that shark looks good. This looks great for CGI." And then like the very next thing, you'd be like, "This looks fucking terrible."
Yeah. Especially, it was mostly when he jumped out of the water is when it looked really bad.
Which is weird because
all of the in-water stuff looks great.
Yeah, But there's also that one where it's like Blake Lively and she's surfing and she's riding and she goes past the camera and they like CGI'd her face on a surfing double.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
It looks like a fucking jib jab or something. It's fucking terrible. And it's just like, why do you have to have her go in front of the camera? Like, can you just mask it from afar or something?
Oh God. I have three on this list. I have Nerve, which I just had a lot of fun with Nerve. This is the one with Dave Franco and Emma Roberts. It's kind of like the game, sort of. I don't know why. I just had a lot of fun with it. TMNT Out of the Shadows. I didn't talk about this when I saw this on the show. Maybe it's because I was guilty. But I gotta say, I really had fun with this one. I recognize that it is not the best movie. It is. I will say that it is far better than the original, or the whatever the last Michael Bay produced TMNT movie was.
Yeah.
But it's a movie that it knew exactly what it was. It wasn't trying to be overly realistic or overly serious or gritty or dark. It was like they were like, you know what? Let's just have fun with this. Let's take a cue from the 80s cartoons and just be goofy and over the top and just silly. And they just really embraced it, and I had a lot of fun with it as a result. I still think Megan Fox is horrible and shouldn't be in it, and she really brought the movie down. But other than her performance, I thought it was quite a good time. And my last one is The Purge. I already forgot the subtitle. Anarchy? Was it The Purge Anarchy?
Sure. Why not?
The third Purge movie. This one,
Wait, they're on the third one already?
yeah, they're on the third one. Yep.
Oh.
I fully understand that these movies are just so ridiculous. And again, the reason that I liked this one is similar to Out of the Shadows in that by the third Purge, they're like, you know what? We're just going to embrace how silly and over the top this is. And because of that, I had a better time with it. And in my opinion, it's the best one of the three. I don't think they should make more. Don't get me wrong. They need to end it. This needs to be the last one. But
Go out on top, guys.
yeah, and it was actually, I listed it as an honorable mention in my top horror movies of the year, just because I thought it was creepy and violent, and it was like exploitation at its best.
Gotcha.
Well, maybe not at its
All right.
best. That's a little too strong. Let me scale that back a little bit.
Bring it down a notch.
Yeah,
Or four.
exactly. All right, moving on. Worst of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Worst of the year. I was gonna make, and we back in the day we actually used to make written lists of the worst movies of the year, but then I felt bad, so I kind of stopped doing it because I was like, nobody gets anything out of this. It's just hurt feelings.
Yeah.
But then I thought for the podcast we're gonna have to talk about some of the really bad shit that we saw this year, and I think that some of these we will share because some of these we actually reviewed on this show.
Yeah.
Two to be specific. And I'm sure that both of these are on your list, and that's Zoom and Moonwalkers.
Zoom is definitely on my list, and it's on my list for competency. Like it's just like stop making films. Whoever I can't even remember who, and I don't even want to look it up because I don't want their IMDb page to get clicks.
You don't want it to be in your history.
Yeah.
You're worried that somebody might see it in your history.
Yeah, or like the director's like, oh shit, someone clicked on Zoom the other day, and then he.
I better make another one.
I don't want any mixed signals. Whoever made this, stop making films. Whoever wrote it, stop. Just stop. Don't ever do anything. Find a new profession. Just quit it with movies. Don't ever again. Because Jesus, was this awful in so many ways.
Yeah, 100% agree. It is absolutely one of the worst things I've seen this year, and I saw a lot of shit this year. Any other ones that you want to mention?
Another one that I have, because this is more so just like, why? Who thought that this was a good idea? And that's Rainbow Time.
I had a feeling you're going to mention this one.
Like, how, when this was thrown out there, or when someone read the script, why wasn't there someone that just said, "Nah, think of something else. Like this is just a bad idea. Let's not do this." But they did it. It got released, and it has like
Yeah.
people in it.
Yeah, the Duplass brothers are at least partially responsible for making this happen.
Mm.
They produced it.
Unbelievable. Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I have a couple here. Officer Down. This is the one that came out pretty recently. It's this really stupid action movie. I'm just, these movies that kind of play into the whole grindhouse thing. Some of them work, some of them don't. Most of them don't, and this one doesn't. It's just garbage. Warcraft, I will give a special mention to. What a train wreck that was. Continuing the trend of failed video game adaptations. I mean, this one, I don't know what happened with this because I like Duncan Jones. I like his other stuff. His other movies have been really solid, especially Moon. But this one, I don't know what's going on. If it's studio intervention or what, but God, what a mess. If you go to my letterbox list, you can see about at least 2 or 3 dozen bad horror movies on this list. Independence Day Resurgence was a pile of shit. Shouldn't have been made, and I can't understand why. It's something that exists in this world. Mechanic Resurrection, same thing. Complete garbage through and through. Special Correspondence, Ricky Gervais just needs to end his career because this isn't working for him anymore. No, it's
pretty much over anyways.
The novelty wore off with him, and this movie is just unbelievably unfunny. Like it tries so hard to be funny, and it's just not. I already mentioned Nerdland. That's pretty crappy. The Greasy Strangler, don't bother. You know what? I'm not going to include the Greasy Strangler on this list just because it did make me laugh at a couple parts. I'm doing it right, Janet. Hootie tootie disco cutie. See, it's a movie that sticks with you, so I do give it that. It's not a good movie, but it is definitely one that sticks with you.
Oh God.
The Bronze. This is I actually had pretty high expectations for this one because the trailers made it look very funny about this kind of foul-mouthed,
oh yeah, that's right,
dirty Olympic bronze medalist. That's just this kind of like slacker, but it just really didn't work. Ryan actually saw this recently and he loved it. He thought it was hilarious. So I guess it just wasn't my kind of humor. It just wasn't for me.
Working on your wavelength.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I'll mention. There's a ton of other bad movies that you could look at on my full list, but those were the ones that really stick out. The funny thing is that I see all these really shitty horror movies, the found footage ones, but they don't really stick out in my mind towards the end of the year because there's nothing to them. They come and go.
Yeah,
like Martyrs, the Martyrs remake. I guess I could mention that because that's the actual bottom of my list. That is the worst thing I saw all year. And the reason is
worse than Zoom.
It's worse than Zoom, just because I liked the original Martyrs.
That's true, because that adds another layer too.
And I really, and I
feel
like
you got to at least give it to Zoom for they actually came up with their own idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though it was the worst idea I've ever seen, and stop making movies.
I think I said this in our review, but Zoom just feels like such a early 2000s movie to me. It feels like it came way after its time.
Yes. Oh man.
So that's the worst of the year. Best performance by a non-human. Now, when I made this category, I was thinking to myself, oh, it'll be funny to like include like a chair or something. Like if there was a chair that played a prominent role in a movie that came out this year, that would be fun to point out that chair and how special it was.
Did you remember any?
But there were none. That was the thing. My wording for the non-human thing kind of backfired, and I was like, oh, I couldn't think of any kind of like inanimate objects that really were standouts this year. But as far as non-human roles, I have to give it to Black Phillip.
Oh, fuck that thing.
From The Witch.
too fast. Jesus Christ. What a
Uh,
what a terrible section of 2016 film wise, where it's just a never ending talk of Black Phillip.
I love Black Phillip. He's the
Fuck
man.
that thing.
I also noticed. I noticed this when I was compiling my horror list. Is there were a lot more witch movies this year
Yeah,
than other years.
which I hope that keeps going.
Yeah, and there's at least one other witch movie that you don't know it's a witch movie. I don't want to spoil anything, but it was a surprise.
Surprise, we're witches.
Surprise!
Oh man, I hope I stumble upon that one because I don't want you to tell me.
No,
I just,
no.
you know what I mean. I want it to be like something like Patterson, where you're watching it and then it's like
Witches.
3/4 of the way through it, it turns out they're witches. Just be like, what?
So in addition to Black Phillip, I have the shark from The Shallows.
Yeah,
Because it was a pretty badass shark. Looking back, I don't think, other than Jaws, I think Shallows is probably my number 2 shark. Actually, you know what? No. There was Deep Blue Sea, and then there was that one, I can't even remember the name of it, where the sharks were in the supermarket. that movie was amazing.
I just love that shark had that whale. It's like I had this whole whale to eat, but he was like, nah.
Nah, fuck it. That whale's all rotten and gross.
I'm gonna keep eating all these people instead. And this,
I mean, if you were a shark, wouldn't you go after the surfers? I would immediately go after the surfers.
I mean, in between of eating the whale, like if they came out, if they ventured out to the whale, I'd be like, oh, cool person. Because I'd think of it like a French fry with my steak. But I think I would focus more on the whale.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also kind of lazy, so.
Yeah. I would probably go after the surfers immediately. Just rid them of the world. And then I also had to give it to Marvin from Patterson, Nelly.
Nice. I had to, with the Shallows, I had to give it to the seagull.
The seagull, yeah, nice.
Because I liked that seagull he didn't really seem fazed by everything that's going on.
No, he was a chill gull.
And even with his wing being messed up, he's just like, eh. Even when she fixed it, which I thought was ridiculous, like all these people are getting eaten, and Blake Lively's like, I'm gonna fix this seagull. I don't even think the seagull cared. But there was also a part of me that, because everything else that she tried to do ended terribly, like nothing really worked out for her.
No.
Throughout the day, and there was a part of me that was like, she's gonna try to fix that way. She's just gonna crush that seagull.
Oh my god, if that happened. That movie probably would have got bonus points if that's what happened. If she tried to fix its wing and just killed it.
Just completely crushed it. I would say the Wiener Dog from Wiener Dog.
Yeah.
Enjoyed him. And the Pudgy Corgi from Certain Women.
Oh, yeah.
Keeping up with that ATV.
That's right. Damn it. I knew that there was like a couple other dogs in there.
I thought that was inspirational.
Yeah. That was great. All right, let's see. Best visual effects.
Oh boy.
What are you thinking on this?
No,
I take it you probably didn't see a lot of
no,
effects-laden movies this year.
I don't know if I didn't put down anything for this one.
I didn't either, actually. So
Okay,
I figured we'll just wing this one. I'm gonna give it to Jungle Book, probably. Jungle Book had some really great effects.
Jungle Book, Arrival. Maybe.
Arrival. Oh,
got
yeah.
some good stuff in there. Midnight Special.
Midnight Special was decent. Rogue One had some really good visual effects.
50% of The Shallows. Yeah, that's about it for me.
Yeah, Civil War was good, but that's like all kind of stuff to be expected.
Yeah.
You know, when I wrote this down, I was thinking of, maybe we could mention some things that were not just your typical this big action blockbuster, you know?
Yeah.
But as far as like other things, I don't know. Hardcore Henry, maybe.
Okay.
Had some really cool visuals. Worst film title of the year?
There's only one. Billy
Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. It's funny. After I wrote this down, I was like, I'm just curious. Like, were there other ones that could be worse than that?
No,
The answer's no. There's
it's not. It's just that. That's it.
yeah. There's nothing that's worse than that title. It's
I think maybe 10 Cloverfield Lane. Throw that in there.
maybe.
It's just I just think it's stupid to throw the Cloverfield in there.
I guess.
But even then, like, does that come close to Billy Lynn's? I can't even see the whole thing
No.
without that.
Every time I say it or hear somebody else say it, I laugh, and it's like this completely involuntary thing that I do.
Can't do it.
What about poster design? What do you think about best poster design?
Oh, I got The Handmaiden. I think might be my favorite.
That's on my list too.
I throw that up there. Knight of Cups.
Oh, that's a good one. I don't have that on my list, but yeah, that one's a really good. That's a good
Enjoyed
one.
that one. For the Plasma, The Alchemist Cookbook,
That's a good one too.
uh, and Collective Unconscious. Enjoyed that one as well.
I don't love that one.
Well, I do. So it's my list, so it makes perfect sense.
You're not allowed to have it on your list. I have the Handmaiden as well. I have the Neon Demon, In a Valley of Violence, Green Room, Suicide Squad, specifically the cereal bowl one. That's my favorite one. Moonlight,
Ooh, okay. Forgot
because
about
the
that one.
the Moonlight one. Because when I first saw that, I didn't really get it, and then upon further inspection, I'm like, very very tricky, guys. Shin Godzilla,
Oh yeah, that is a good poster.
OJ Made in America.
You and your goddamn OJ.
I know. Why is this on so many freaking awards for me? I don't know. It's a good with the glove though. It's a good poster. And what else do I have? They're Watching, which is interesting. They're Watching is one of my worst rated movies of the year, but I think it has one of the most interesting posters. I'm not sure if you saw it, but it's like it's a hand drawn or hand painted, and it's supposed to look like the ground and like the leaves are kind of in the shape of a face. It's really interesting. It's not the
Knight
one
of
that's it's not the one that's
Oh,
that's featured on Letterboxd, but there's another one.
oh, okay.
But yeah, it's good. Terrible movie, but really solid poster. And then the other one that I'll mention is Christine.
Okay.
I really like the one
Yeah,
with the TV.
forgot about that.
Very 70s. I like that. I like a lot of 70s style things with lots of yellows and browns.
Big fan of the yellows and browns.
I am a fan of the yellows and browns. Worst poster. There's a ton of these
All the other ones.
because there's just so many generic posters out there. Like nobody puts any kind of creativity into posters anymore.
Mm-mm.
Or they do and then they ruin it by coming out with another one. Like for instance, right now the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 kind of like teaser posters out and it looks awesome. It's the black and white one where they're just kind of standing up against the wall and I'm sure that later they're going to come out with another poster that's just your generic Marvel type
Yeah.
poster.
Oh yeah, they are.
I have three that just stuck out in my mind. I didn't do any kind of extensive research on this. The first one is USS Indianapolis Men of Courage. That's the one with Nicolas Cage, which has pretty much every kind of poster trope you can think of. It's teal and orange. It's got the floating heads. It's got like the shit going on underneath the floating heads. And it just looks awful in every way. Um, the second one I have is the Hollers, uh, because I hate it when they use poorly screen grabbed images of the actual movie and put it in their poster because I feel like it's lazy.
Oh yeah. Oh, I hate those posters. Oh god.
And the Hollers could really be replaced with several other ones, like the Intervention. I think did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're so bad and lazy. And then finally, I have Collateral Beauty in there because that one just to me looks like shit.
Mm-hmm. I have the intervention. That's a good. I almost put that on my list. I hate those posters so much. Nothing cries out to you that like, hey, this movie is extremely mediocre.
Yeah,
Than the four bars. Stills from the movie. I would put Hell or High Water, the one with the two brothers with the bat, and then you just have the huge floating head
Yeah.
above them for some reason. I don't. That just irritates me. Patterson. I like the
Yeah.
movie Patterson, but the poster is just like, such an afterthought to me. It just. I think it's more like the font. I just really hate the font.
I don't know, like script
Yeah,
type font.
don't like it. And then Nocturnal Animals. I
Hmm.
really dislike the
Interesting.
poster of that one.
I don't like the poster, but it's interesting that'd be one of your least favorite.
Yeah, I
Or
just
most.
it's not, no, I don't like that. I mean, there's a bunch of other ones. Zoom, because I loved it. Because I love that they kind of did the intervention, the hollers type thing, but of course they had to make it into a comic book.
Yeah.
So it's comic book, so it's like two different kinds of awful coming together to make a whole new kind of awful. Ugh.
Yeah. I will say that sometimes when you use the still image from the movie, if you do it right, I feel like I'm looking at Donald Cried, and that poster is good to me. I
Yeah,
like that
because they
poster.
just picked one good one. You just use one still. And if
Yeah.
it's, your main character getting choked out, even better.
I'll give a shout out to Driftwood too. I'm seeing that on my list here, and that's a cool poster. And also Pop Meets the Void.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of good posters out there.
Yeah, I'm sure that I could probably rattle off 20 posters that I thought were quite good that came out this year.
Let's let's move into something different and go TV shows. Let's go
Okay.
completely out of the realm of film, bang out some TV shows.
My favorite, now, I mentioned that I thought we should do debut, like new TV shows.
Okay, yeah,
Is that what you want to do?
I think the one that I picked came out this year. Pretty sure.
Okay, so what did you pick?
I picked chewing gum,
Oh, okay.
which I'm not 100% because
It came out in America this year.
yeah, that's what I figured. But I don't know how long well, like the turnaround time. Like I don't know if it came out in the UK like 4 years ago and
I
we
think
just
it's
got it. But I
no,
think
I
it
think it's
was relatively new.
yeah, I think it's pretty new.
But I think that was the biggest surprise for me. That was the one that I kind of didn't really hear anything about, and I was just like, I'll give this a shot, and I ended up falling in love with it.
I enjoyed that series too. I thought that was really good. My pick is Atlanta. It's not, again, not a very surprising or glamorous pick because everybody I think knows that show, but it was just so damn good. I want more of it right now.
I want to see that so bad.
And there's plenty of when looking at the TV that came out this year. And normally I try to avoid any kind of TV talk, but other than just mentioning that I'm watching something, but these days it's like, damn, I feel like we're doing a disservice to everyone not talking about some of these shows,
Well,
and
there's also,
like Stranger Things, that to me that was such a huge show that came out this year.
well, I think the other problem is there's too many shows.
Yeah,
I can't work them in. I can't work all these shows in with all these movies. I mean, something's got to give.
yeah, you're right. It's all a matter of priorities, and typically I always choose the movies over the shows,
Yeah,
but I always try to find time to try to binge watch
yeah. You try and get one in
something.
there.
Yeah. Okay. How do you feel about? Do you want to just talk about short films? Or were there any short films you wanted to highlight?
I had a lot. Just check my list. Like,
Oh
so
yeah,
much
you
shit.
did. You did a whole article on that.
Well, I had that. Plus, there was I think 30% of my top 50 films were shorts because
Yeah.
I
See.
fold them in. See, I got them together.
Yeah, I keep them separate,
I don't discriminate like some people.
and I don't log them on Letterboxd either. That's another thing I don't do. I don't log short films on
It's
Letterboxd.
almost like you don't even consider them films.
No, it's not. That's not true at all.
Jeez.
That's not true at all. I love short films. I'll just mention. I think that my favorite or my top short film this year was "This House Has People in It."
Oh, I didn't get to see that.
Now,
I forgot about that one too.
with that one, The reason that I'm putting it on my list, or the reason that it tops Project X, which was number 2 for me as far as short films, and there were, like you said, Kevin, there were a ton of great short films this year. I mean, like hundreds. Um, the reason that that tops my list is because I think that they're doing something really interesting. This is the same team behind unedited footage of a bear.
Okay.
If you saw that one, I think maybe a year ago. I can't remember when that one came out, but it's one of these puzzle box type things where you watch it and it's like 11 minutes long and you're just like, what the fuck? What was that? And you could just leave it at that. You can leave it at this kind of weird horror experimental thing. Or you can watch it again and look at the clues and try to figure out what's going on. And then once you follow the clues and start going down that rabbit hole, it almost turns into a game. It almost turns into like some sort of augmented reality type game where you watch it, you learn some information, you go on the web, and it basically unlocks additional things. And then before you know it, you're looking at over 2 hours of footage because it's so much more than just the original short film.
Oh, okay.
You gotta dive deep into this, and the experience, it is like playing a game, and it's so much fun and so weird and creepy. I loved it. I thought it was just I had an amazing time with it. So I just want to give that a shout out.
I'll have to check that out then.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, so you can just watch it on YouTube. This house has people in it. There are actual websites and things that you go to. All the sites are still up. All the information is still available. So, yeah, I would definitely check it out. Wrapping up, how do you feel about 2016 in movies? Because we know how everyone feels about 2016 in the real world.
In the movies, I don't think that there was a lot of I didn't think there was an overabundance of masterpieces or films that made me jump up and down. But I thought overall there was an abundance of just solid films.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. Yeah. This is one of these years where, sometimes there are clear standouts where I'm just like, obviously that's number one. Obviously this is number two or whatever. And then
Yeah,
usually my like 5 through 20 or whatever can be kind of switched around and stuff. But typically I have like 5 favorites that are super strong. This year I was really shuffling my list around all the way up until the very end. And like I'd have Moonlight and Manchester by the Sea and American Honey as 1, 2, and 3. But really, I mean, Manchester by the Sea and Moonlight, they could be switched. They're pretty much tied. And those are interchangeable. And then some of my other ones like American Honey and Elle and Handmaiden and Certain Women, like a lot of just everything could be kind of switched around. So
no,
I agree that there weren't any like kind of like breakout, like, oh my God, this is going on, my top 100 films of all time list.
yeah,
But there were a number of really, really great moments at the movies this year for sure. I was really surprised because I kept complaining about that this wasn't a great year for horror movies, and then when I finally went to make my list, I had a really difficult time whittling my list down to 10. There were like a surprising number of movies that came out that I would consider horror movies that were really good,
Mhm.
and I think maybe it's just because there weren't a lot of like, just kind of conventional horror movies that came out. They're all kind of doing something a little different. There were a lot of witches,
Getting
but
loosey goosey.
yeah, like Under the Shadow and Green Room, movies like that are just kind of, they're a little different. Eyes of My Mother, which I know you hated, but still.
Man,
Overall, I'd say it was a solid year. It wasn't amazing, but I think it was
when I,
pretty
when I was
good.
when I was scrolling through your top 10 horrors, as soon as I got that, I clicked the X on the tab. It's like boom, get out of here.
It's just,
I'm done.
all right. This list lost all credibility. I stand by that movie. I really do.
Yeah, it should.
There's so many movies that we saw this year that I kind of forgot about or that I wanted to rewatch and didn't get a chance. Like The Wailing, that was another one that
Yeah, that
I
was one I wanted to see too.
like. I really loved that when I saw it, but it was so long ago that I had a really hard time placing it. But it was a decent year, weak year for comedies. I'll say that. Hopefully next year's a better year for comedy. I feel like we're just in a drought with comedy.
Comedy's gone. There's no more comedy.
I mean, 2016 is like the most unfunny year ever.
It's funny in the sense that you have to laugh to keep from, blowing your brains out.
Right. It's like an ironic kind of comedy. All right. Any closing thoughts on this year?
No, that's it. That's all I got.
All right. I thank you all for listening and sticking with us for another year. We've been doing this for 4 years now.
Damn.
Hopefully 2017 will be a little less mediocre than 2016, although considering that we've been doing it for 4 years, I don't see that happening.
Wait, you mean mediocre for us?
Yes.
Our skills?
Our skills, yes. I'm sure that this will be as amateur and ramshackle as ever in 2017. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions, topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @filmpulsenet and @filmpulsekevin. If you have a minute, take a look at our Patreon page. Patreon.com/filmpulse is the address. Consider helping us out by becoming a subscriber. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name is Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.